See, now we're getting into the Miranda variants, because the Miranda, well, it existed in TNG, and as it exists in TNG, they kept changing it and making it a little bit different. So now we're going to talk about all the variants, and again, thanks to Max Loaf from Armada 3 to provide this model, which I was then able to convert, and I can show you some fun stuff. So this, I'll take you through this, Stuart. So this version, as you can see, is the Reliant version with the roll bar, but if you go to the next picture, that is the Lantry version without the roll bar, the simple version. If you go one more, that's the Saratoga, which we see the DS9 version, with particle wave laser cannon something or others on either side. Kind of like lightsabers, going to be honest with you. And then the fourth version is the Soyuz class, which is a whole different class of ship with the lots more guns approach to the Miranda. So same space frame, 4 different versions. And we're going to break down them a little bit now. So let's start with this next picture, which is a top view, comparing all 4 of them. So Stuart, what do you like when you watch TNG? What do you think when you started seeing variants? And what did you feel about them?
I hated the fact there was no roll bar. They seem like they're unbalanced without it. I don't know if that's just because I was so used to seeing it with it. The Soyuz class kind of makes up for it a little bit with that big gun on the back, but overall, I think there's a lot of missed opportunity as far as that top part goes. It just seems like wasted blank space.
I didn't. I mean, the only one that stood out to me was the Soyuz. I vaguely recognised the Saratoga having extra guns, but it seems like a strange choice, and they seem very. They don't seem as Star Trek-y. It's kind of an odd thing to put these lasers on the sides. It's like,
It's like Buck Rogers universe.
Yeah, and if you look at the size compared to the mega phases of the Miranda, the Reliant, sorry, are these mega phases?
They're ultimate mega supreme phasers.
Death Ray Mark III, yeah. And then the Soyuz, which I'm surprised we only saw it once. I mean, it was a really cool thing to see for the episode. It was great. I mean, one of the best episodes of TNG. Just a cool factor, and that end shot is great. And you see, the actor who wanted to be in Star Trek, so they gave him that role. But it was an interesting ship. And what do you think of the Soyuz? If we go back to the last picture of the Soyuz, what do you think of that as a class of ship?
Oh, like I said, that's one of the ones I like the most out of the variants, because it does seem more balanced. But with those weapons, I would have liked to seen this more in the Dominion Wars. I would love to see some of these getting blown up instead of Miranda classes, to be honest, because you would think you would send these bad boys in. Now, how many of them they actually built, who knows? They could, again, be, as we've discussed before, experimental prototypes or weapons test beds to test new systems and stuff. So there might only be a few of them.
Well, I mean, these wouldn't be scratch built, would they? They'd be Miranda shells with added components, wouldn't they? I mean, have you read the book Ship of the Line, which has this ship of Morgan Batesman again? Have you read the book?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's the book straight after Generations, when the E is being field tested, and they're going to give the Enterprise E to the captain of the Soyuz, the Wrath of Khan-ish era Morgan Batesman. And it's like, and you learn all about his time, because you get a prequel bit in the guy's time. And this is not a new ship. This is not a state-of-the-art ship. This is a border patrol ship, a rust bucket, just an old. No one cares about them. Useful, but even with all these guns, I'm guessing that's their way of at least make it comparable to a D7. Like, if we just pack it full of guns, then maybe we can go against a bigger ship.
Do you think too that maybe the Soyuz class and stuff are actually predecessors to the Miranda, and the Miranda is an updated version, hence the smaller mega phasers? These could be, then that could be why these are the old rust buckets. They're the older ones that they used to, let's throw a roll bar on that and make it, these new mega phasers, and let's make a new ship, Miranda style. And the Miranda could have been the newest of the new of the space frame.
That's so interesting. Well, just the fact that we see 99.9% Reliant variants survive after, Wrath of Khan, and that does imply that that's the one that was worth keeping,
That's
So
what I was
that's
that's what I was kind of leading into. That's why we see so many of them in the Dominion War, because they were the newest, most advanced ones, and they're the ones that served their purpose best. And maybe a lot of these ones got upgraded to Miranda variants. It's a possibility. Yeah.
So you think maybe if we go back to the picture with all the different versions, maybe they started with the Scout version, the Lantry, just the basic. We're gonna, it's got ball turrets. Good for them. Then there's versions with the secondary lasers on the side, which is just a test version, and we see one in Saratoga.
Exactly.
And then the gunboat version, which you're right is older.
Yeah. It could be that the one is just, let's create a ship that we can use for multiple purposes to test experimental whatevers, and have a big platform on the back where we can mount whatever we need to mount for test purposes. Who knows? Overpowered maybe, because for new systems and things. I don't know.
Do you think, though, go back to the Soyuz again, do you think this really speaks Federation? I mean, we'll see some of the pictures later on, and I think we'll talk about it in a bit more detail, but the amount of guns this thing has, it's a lot of guns. Maybe obvious guns.
Yeah, it speaks wartime Federation. Like, they needed these at some point. As a deterrent or whatever, and they're kind of a relic of the past. I actually like that a lot, that they're older for whatever reason.
Now, I got to bring up something else, because when we talked to Andrew Probert about, a future episode actually, he mentioned that in his mind, and what he thought the way the thing was, that the Miranda was a new ship based on the refit style.
Yes.
And that means that the Reliant is going to be one of the first, because obviously it's been built around the same time as the refit. So that would be the very first iteration of this design. There wouldn't be older versions, because the refit just happened, and the refit was almost, it was pretty brand new. That's obviously his personal. I don't remember if he said that was in the script, but he built the entire aesthetic to be new. So that would go against that theory, but I'd be interested to know. I think I like your version. But at the same time, I think they could just have kept churning out variants, and this one just happened to be an older one.
There was quite a few years between the motion picture and Star Trek 2, though. I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was at least 4 or 5 years, maybe more. So that's a lot of time to build a few different variations. Yeah, and but the Reliant could have been the newest one. Could have been one of the newest ones.
Although you wouldn't send the newest one to help civilians when a weapon thing, well, not weapon, but thing that might be. I mean, the fact that he sent it a rubbish ship, theoretically, unless it's in a really powerful ship, but I didn't get the sense that crew, if that device didn't work, it's a rubbish mission. If that device is going to work and change the Federation, you want to send a really advanced ship.
Maybe it was the only ship in the quadrant, because that's happened. I know.
Next picture is a view from the front to show you all the different versions and just the scaling differences and just how it changes the profile. And I don't obviously know which order it goes in, so I just sort of went less to more, I suppose. But it really does. They all feel so different, And it does show a hell of a diverse thing for that frame. I know I've seen fan versions, but I would love to have seen a variant with a secondary hull on the bottom. It would have broken the whole warp engine line of sight rule. But I think a secondary hull version or variant would look really good. It has looked really good.
I agree. I do. The one I really like the most here, well, besides the Reliant, it's the best one, obviously. But the Soyuz class looks very cool, except for the ones on the side. I like the top. I like the top gun. I think that looks really good, and the bottom. But out of these, which one's your favorite besides the Miranda?
See, I kind of like the simplicity of the... If we go to the next picture, we see a side view. I kind of like the simplicity of the Lantry. It's just very much this is a cheap ship we build that you might be stationed on. They'll go from A to B. It's just a ship. It has no specific purpose. It's a scout. It's whatever. I kind of like the simplicity of this design. Like, it works. And I wouldn't necessarily say it feels very unbalanced, because what is balance when it comes to zero gravity? I think the second one, the Saratoga, is I don't like the lasers.
They look like X-wing guns.
Yeah, what were they? I mean, I don't know. And then the Reliant obviously is classical. And the Soyuz is interesting, but it feels so mission specific. And from again, that book is not certainly canon. I mean, I personally, it's one of my canonical books. I think it's such a great book. If I was looking at this ship, and again, there's more pictures in a minute, I would think of it as a really like the top-notch, heavy-duty version of this class. But if we go to the next picture, we'll just go through them with a few extra pictures. This one is obviously the Lantry again, just a close-up. The next picture is a close-up of Max's weapons. That is such a lightsaber with an X-wing laser turret on. I mean, come on.
Well, it's not just that. There's Nomad there too. The connection point to the ship is Nomad's body, and then they got a lightsaber handle. Oh my god!
What do you think about this, Stuart?
This looks like it's from an alternate timeline where the Federation is really scrounging for ships, and they've installed some alien components to their ships to just kind of beef them up. It doesn't look like it fits. It's interesting looking visually, but it's not Starfleet.
It's strange to have the circle elements on the aesthetic where we now use rectangles. Like, we specifically don't use circles anymore. And even if you look at this being TNG refit, they use ovals. So it doesn't fit any of the aesthetics, so much. It's just, I mean, I suppose you're just throwing the idea out that it's just this really powerful laser. You warp in, you use two ultra powerful beams. Like it's like, because we saw the mega phasers, they shoot like bolts. It's not a single beam, so that's a different style of weapon. This could be the phaser laser. It's just a single beam, two beams, just a pulse right through your shields, and then just rip into it, and then you fire your other phasers because there's no torpedoes.
Are you sure they're weapons, though? Maybe they're really high-powered sensors, long-range sensors.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because they kind of have the dish aspect from TOS.
That's a really interesting point. I hadn't considered that. Like, this is the uber science version. Because we don't see them fire these weapons, I believe, in the DS9 intro sequence. I believe it's just this normal phasers. So that's it. Yeah, I totally buy that, actually. Nice.
Makes more sense for the Federation, too, so yeah. Alright, so the next picture is again the
Soyuz.
The Soyuz, yeah.
And if we go to the next picture, you can see a close-up of the side cannons. There's actually three jotting out turrets, I suppose. I mean, they're big, pointy-outy things. My gut says they're close to mega phasers and phasers. They're more pulse weapons. That's my gut, rather than beams. I'm not sure why I think that.
Well, going back to what I said, maybe they're long-range communication arrays. Ha! Because they look like antennas. Just saying.
So we think this is the big warship, but it could just in fact be the long-range like fleet command vessel with pointy sensors.
There you go. Maybe it's to coordinate fleet activity.
Well, one thing we do know about the ship is the next picture is the addition of a new shuttle bay.
Oh, very cool.
Which I didn't know about.
It could be a fighter carrier or something in that case.
I don't think they would spend that much space for fighters. I mean, how many fighters could you have? Unless you use the entire component as a fighter bay, you wouldn't be able to put that many on.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I kind of like that. And it's got a different door again, this is Max's model, so who knows. But for me, this middle one is a shuttle bay. The other two are the escape pods. Because we see that in assuming the TNG one is the legitimate version.
Then why wouldn't that be labeled number 1? If I'm going to have a shuttle bay, I want it labeled number 1, and then the escape pod ones that you never really use.
Because they already painted the other doors with immovable paint. They're like 50 years old. You can't move it. Yes.
You can't paint over it either, damn it.
It's very, very resistant to change. They built them to last. Because you saw in Broken Bow and XO1 they scratched the paint. They said never again, and they made paint that would not come off for anything.
I'll buy that. for a $3 bill. I think I have one. No,
I'd buy that for $1, yeah. I like the impulse engines being moved, and you've got to move them. But it's such a big, chunky, extra extra. But I kind of like it as a stylistic in the sense like, how do you extend this as a craft?
Yeah.
Let's just push a rectangle out of the back. Okay.
That sounds painful.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I gotta do my captain's log soon. I gotta film that. Oh, no, I'm sorry, viewers. Anyway, next picture. We got a close-up of the lower guns, or sensors, or antennas.
Even more potential guns. I mean, this is
It'd be cool if that swiveled.
Well, yeah. That'd be very cool. Yeah. God, imagine if that was the TOS phasers. They just stuck out of the hull like that. That looks so bad. We're having that as 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 rod lasers pointing out. If they're all individual phases, I mean, this thing is very heavily armed. Yeesh. But if you wanted, I mean, you look at the Klingon Bird of Prey from Enterprise, I mean, they're just decking out with cannons left, right, and centre. So, you know, if you want to make a really strong ship, hey, why not throw phase? I mean, torpedoes are great, but they run out. You give the ship an enhanced warp core, you take out all of its science facilities, you pump it full of phasers. If you fight all these phasers at the same time, you're going to do a lot of shield damage, and maybe you could rip through the shields in a single go. I mean, look at the TNG, the phaser lance. I mean, if you have a more if you have a powerful phaser, you can rip through everything. You know, maybe this is the equivalent.
But then why were they so excluded from the Dominion War?
Because they were so at the front lines of battle, they already all got blown up.
Or they only made a few of them as experimental.
Yeah. I mean, how many? If you have 80 Mirandas, you're not going to make them all the gunboats, are you? Like beyond, because I mean, if they're already an old class of ship, just build a new class of ship like they did. Because they build a lot of new ships. I mean, you know, the production cycle of refitting old ships does, you know, I mean, look at the Excelsiors, look at Mirandas. I mean, things aren't refitted into all the new variants all the time, you know.
Cool. All right, so let's go to the next picture, and here we've got. Oh, I like this.
Because there are a couple more Miranda variants than the main 4. I thought I'd throw them all in here. Just so we cover everything.
Yeah. I love the TOS version of this. My buddy Dave Lewis did a really amazing TOS Miranda for Wonderfest a few years ago, and it's just beautiful. It's 350 scale. And I like that there's different sensor pods and stuff that they have as attachments for that upper roll bar, so...
What do you think of this one? I thought it was quite a... I
think it's cool, but look at the back thing. It's like the gun or the yeah, it's the exact same shapes, so it could be a sensor emitter.
There you go. Nice one. Yeah, I think the smooth hull and all the more organic circle shapes work really well for Miranda. I would love to have seen it. I hope they do a TOS series at some point and they can show it, because I mean, why wouldn't multiple ships get refitted? I like having it be an older ship.
Maybe we'll see one in Discovery. Who knows?
I was trying not to say that, but okay, hopefully.
I know you were trying not to say it. That's why.
But the next picture is the TNG version. They just made the nacelles glow blue.
Yay! Advancement.
I thought I'd just include that.
They just put a neon lighting kit on it, and we're good to go, guys. It looks more powerful now. People will be afraid of it. Let's go. Cool.
Yep.
These are the red shirts of the TNG fleet. There you go. And the next picture is from Star Trek Online. This is another variant.
2409 version. What do you think? So it is different in a few
Very
ways.
Interesting. I like the extra supports on the roll bar there. That's kind of cool. I approve of that. The engines are interesting as well. The front of those nacelles on the side.
More ribbing.
Yeah.
And obviously if they answer where's the deflector, they put it on top of the torpedo bay, which is, you just pointed out at the start of the episode, that could very easily be where they actually have the secondary deflectors as their normal deflector. I mean, why not? And that's I think a great. They should have put that there. Although it would have been a bit weird because the weapons and right underneath it.
Well, on the Connie, the weapons are right above it, so it doesn't matter.
Although they're not one deck apart, at least they're like 2 or 3.
Well, yeah, but still.
I mean, you'll feel the vibrations of a torpedo hit. I mean, the casing of the sensor will feel the vibration of a torpedo being fired. Anyway, And I like this version. It's a nice little upgrade. You can see the escape pod hatches now. They've got phaser strips. Yeah. The sensor dome is more integrated. It's all small changes, but yeah. And I never noticed the secondary hull struts for the torpedo pop. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Awesome.
That's the future of the Reliant Miranda. There you go.
It's true, guys. All right. So next picture is the last picture is the first picture again. We like doing that, don't we? Back to the classic Miranda. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode where we didn't really play with our toys too much. I got the Hot Wheels version. It's not as good as yours.
Eagle Moss. Anyway, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. What's the studio said? I hope you guys enjoyed the more detailed look at the ship. We really broke down all the different components, broke down all the different variants. Hey, maybe you guys didn't even remember there's so many variants, and obviously the TOS one and things. So much of this ship because it was one of those ILM models they just keep reusing. So they did.
Yes.
All the time. But it was nice to see it. It's nice to see it. Definitely the workhorse of the fleet, as I know it became by the end of its days.
Yeah, and as always with the mission briefing, I really enjoyed kind of speculating. And now we think that there's new theories. The Miranda could have been the newest version of that, and the Lantry was the first version. Made as a test bed. I love doing mission briefings because of the way we think and generate ideas. So we hope that you guys have generated some ideas. Put them in the comments below about the Miranda and its variants, and let us know if we got anything wrong. If we're anything you want to add, please do so.
And of course, go watch our episode 3 on the Miranda, full information. Although we are going to do that episode again with better renders, better everything,
and better us, because we've done this for a while now, so we're getting better at this whole thing.
There'll be a refit of the previous episode. This is our lead back into the Miranda, showing you the models and showing you a bit of everything. That'll be a fun one, I think, guys.
Yeah.
So, 199, episode 199. Thank you, everyone, for watching this whole time. Oh, one of them was 199. This might be episode 200 and something. We're over 200, guys. Thank you so much for all your support. Keep watching the show. Keep watching Trekyards and more Trekyards. And I think we'll see you next week, as always.
Absolutely. Until then, I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Commander Coggins.
Bye, everybody.